Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks very much for coming back and checking this out. No review today of any item. I thought I'd answer some of the questions that people have asked me over the years. I've had a lot more questions recently since I started this channel. Things like, what's my favourite Superman movie? Do I like the new movies? Did I see Superman the movie at the cinema when I was a child? And all those sorts of things. So I thought I'd answer some of those today. I first saw Superman when I was 8 years old on the TV. I didn't see it in the cinema. I actually saw it in the cinema in 2018 on the 40th anniversary of the movie in London. So I waited 40 years to see it on the big screen. So I was born in 74 and the film came out in 78. So obviously I was very young when it came out. So I remember seeing it on the television. I remember being captivated by the character. The suit blew me away, the colours, the special effects. I was just totally captivated by the character I saw on the screen. And as soon as I saw that, as soon as I got into it and loved it as much as I did, my dad went and rented Superman 2 on VHS from the local video store, which just furthered my passion for the character. I loved number 2 with the 3 villains. I just thought it was as good a movie as the first one, really. A fantastic sequel, but just as good as the first one. So I absolutely loved it, and I've got my nan to make me a Superman suit when I was younger. She cut out all the S and everything, and she sewed the patch onto a blue polo neck jumper. Made the cape out of some material with a button at the front and some shorts, and I wore those with blue jeans. That was my first suit. So here I am at the age of 49, surrounded by a fantastic replica suit, and I also have an evil suit from number 3 as well, and this one's from Action Costumes. My other suit is from Super Costumes. I will be doing another video about those at some point in time. And then as number 3 came out in 83, which obviously I was beside myself with excitement, because this was my chance to see Chris Reeve as Superman on the big screen. And my dad took me to Harwich Electric Palace. I grew up in Harwich in Essex, a little town on the seaside coast. And it's a over 100-year-old cinema, tiny little, with very ornate Art Deco at the front and all sorts of stuff. So it's a lovely cinema, and that's where I saw Superman 3, and this is why Superman 3 is probably my favourite, because I saw it on the big screen, because my dad took me to see it, and so it holds a very special place in my heart, that movie. And you know, there's lots of views about good versus evil in that movie, and should that have been written, you know. For my mind, it was absolutely fantastic. And I thought that was a genius, with him turning evil and battling his inner demons and fighting himself. I thought that was a masterstroke by the writers. But I know it divides opinion, and we all have our opinions about our favourites and which ones we like, which ones we don't like. So that's the order I saw them in. And obviously number 4, which came out in 87. So in 83, I then wanted to upgrade my suit that my nan had made, God bless her. And my parents bought me my first suit. And there I am in the first suit. Sorry about all the reflections. Which was a shop bought suit. And I wore this and wore this and wore this. And my parents always tell a funny story that we had an old open fire at our house where we lived. And out the back was a coal bunker, you know, which would store the coal in, and I'd get the coal in, we'd put it on the fire. I would jump off this coal bunker in this suit in the hope that I could fly. As an 8-year-old, that's what you did. You know, that's what you did. So yeah, it really affected me, that movie, as you can hear, as you can hear. But what I loved about it was, it did shape my life. It sounds very corny, it sounds cheesy, and it is. But it did shape my life, and it didn't shape it in the way of truth, justice, and the American way, because I'm from Britain, but in the way of do good things, be kind, be respectful, treat others how you'd want to be treated yourself. And I kind of grew up with those values, along with the teachings of my parents, obviously. But that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be like that character on screen. I wanted to stand for all things that are good, and kindness and that sort of things. And I'd like to think that I brought those traits into my life. And it stayed with me as I grew up, that, that this was the way to be, be a helpful person, and it, as time went on, it just fueled my love of this character. Chris Reeve will always be my Superman because that's the one I grew up with. That's the first one I saw. If I had to pick incarnations in order of my preference, Chris Reeve would be first. I absolutely loved the Dean Gaines series with Terry Hatcher as Lois Lane. I loved that. I absolutely loved that because, to me, although it was a different incarnation, it just fueled my love going into the 90s, coming out of the 80s. Obviously, we had The Adventures of Superboy, which was also produced by the Salkinds, who produced Superman the movie and Superman 2 and 3. But that was more, it went in a little different direction. Although I liked it, it was a different direction that I didn't kind of latch onto. And coming out of that, Superman Returns, I thought, was an excellent effort. Their ideas were noble. I knew what they were trying to do by honouring Richard Donner's Superman. So they made a brave attempt at it, and I thought it was a great film, and I wish he'd done more, because Brandon Routh I thought was a very good Superman. I wasn't so keen on Kate Bosworth as Lois, but there you go, each to their own. The new stuff, I do like the new stuff. I think it lacks a little bit of humour. It lacks a lot of heart, because the original Superman movies had heart. It had heart. It would tug at your heartstrings. The death of Jonathan Kent, all these things that gave it some emotional attachment. And I think the new movies have been very dark, very brooding, very angry, if you like, in some cases, and that really isn't the antithesis of the character, really, in my mind. So I'm hoping that James Gunn's new incarnation of Superman will be a little bit more light-hearted. It's not a comedy. We don't want a comedy. A little bit light-hearted, and maybe it'll have a little bit more heart in it, and so we can feel invested in these characters and emotionally invested in these characters, and not just dark, broody things like that. That sort of mood, it doesn't lift the audience, I don't think. I'm not saying that if you love the new movies, that's fine, that's what you like, but people have asked me that over the years, so that's what I've said. And then I started collecting, but I didn't start collecting from a child, which is weird. I had a Superman t-shirt, I had the suit, I had them on VHS, that sort of thing, but I didn't collect anything. People say, oh, I used to have the lunchbox, and I used to have the flask, and I probably did have that stuff, but to be honest with you, as a child, I don't think you realise the purpose of collecting, not to the degree that we do these days. I mean, I had the Topps trading cards, and I had the full set of those, and growing up, they disappeared. So I probably grew out of them, I threw them away, sold them. I have no idea what I did with them, but I did have some stuff. But although the character stayed with me and I still loved it, and I always loved it growing up and getting older, it never occurred to me to keep hold of stuff, and it never occurred to me to collect stuff. So I started my collection probably about 15 years ago. So it's only in the last 15 years that this Fortress of Solitude and the collection in it has really come together, and probably in the last 10 years it's gone into overdrive, because I've just, in the early days of that collecting, I would find anything that had Chris Reeve on it as Superman, and anything that was out in the time in 1978 through the 80s, that I think, oh, I must have that because it was out then, and I probably had it as a child. So I'm buying things again. Again, I've now got the Topps trading cards for 1, 2, and 3. Both sets for 1 and both sets for 2. So yeah, I am kind of spending money that stuff that I already had years ago, but that's life. But since then, I've moved into high-end stuff like Hot Toys, that sort of stuff, the Mezco figures and stuff like that. And I've also collected a load of stuff from Superman the movie from 78 and the 80s that I didn't know existed, that things pop up even now, and I think, I didn't know anything about this as a child, because I suppose as an 8, 9-year-old child, there was no internet or anything, so those things probably escaped me. But as I say, that's how it started. And since then, I've seen Superman the movie a couple of times on the big screen, and also in concert, which was a fantastic event at the Royal Albert Hall, where we watched the film on a giant screen, and the score was played by a full orchestra from start to finish, which was a totally new experience. And recently I went to Batman 89 in concert, which was also superb. They're doing more and more of these. They're doing Star Wars, they're doing Indiana Jones, Titanic, all these sorts of things. But to hear that music sort of come out at you when you're watching the movie, it's like, it's a fantastic way of watching the movie. And if you ever get a chance to see any movie of the in concert series that they're doing at the moment at the Albert Hall, the Barbican is where we went the other week, that's the way to see the movie. It's amazing. And only recently, probably 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I discovered Somewhere in Time, which is another Chris Reeve movie, which was made in 1980, around the time of Superman 2, with Jane Seymour, which was a love story, a time travel story. And I absolutely love that. How I didn't pick that up as a child, but then I wouldn't have been into that as a child, I suppose. So I've really got into that recently, and I've started collecting autographs from Somewhere in Time and bits of memorabilia from Somewhere in Time as well. But I'm not a Superman fan or collector that collects anything with an S on it. I've seen collections, and no way am I dissing people's collections, because they're fantastic, where you see cupboards and cupboards and glass cabinets full and full of everything with an S on it, from rubber ducks to whatever. I'm choosy about what I collect, and I like what I like, and I know what I don't like. But what I love about the Superman community as well is we all collect different things. I collect a lot of figures. I know friends of mine who collect call sheets, behind the scenes photos, that sort of thing. Obviously Jay Towers, Jim Bowers, they've got screen use props and things like that. I love the fact that we all like different things about it, and we all collect different things about it. So that makes it a wonderful talking point when we meet up with these people, And I have to say, or take this opportunity to say, thanks to all the people that I've met over the years in the Superman community who have, I can't express it in another way apart from enriched my life. To name but a few, you've got Craig Suter, you've got Jim Bowers, Jay Towers, Alexi Lamley Steele, Martin Lakin, all the people that attended the Superman in concert in London, who I'd never met before. Aaron Price, to name but a few. There's loads. And then obviously when me and Martin got the chance to go to Detroit to the Superman convention there 2 years ago, we got to meet all our American friends that we've been speaking to for many years that we'd never met before. Bill Williams, Brad Day, all these people. So it's a great community. There's never any nastiness. There's nothing but support, and there's nothing but love for the character. And that's what I love about it. The positivity of the group, and the fact that we all love the same thing. Because I think this movie still stands up today. New things are still being unearthed, new things to buy, new things are being released, like the Mondo vinyl disc set that I did a video on the other week. New things are being released, and people are creating things, There's a very exciting thing that's being created at the moment, which I won't give too much away, but I have my name down for one of those, and once I get that, there will be a video on that. That's something really special, but I'll give you more information a bit later on. I'll keep that to myself for the time being. So that's it. I just wanted to answer a few questions and just say this is where it all started. That's where it all came from, and it's never left. And this year I turned 50, and I'm as passionate about it as I was as an 8-year-old child. But I have to say, if I could have gone back to an 8-year-old child and said, when you're 49 or in your 40s, from 43 onwards or whatever, you'll get to meet pretty much all of the cast. You know, you'll get to spend some time with them. You'll get autographs. You'll get photos with them. You know, and you'll chat to them online. And I said, "No, what are you talking about?" But we have. You know, we thanks to the invention of Comic-Cons, you get to spend time with the stars, meet the stars, get things autographed, and it's a really good thing. It's one of the greatest inventions, I think, to do these convention things, because then you get to meet your heroes. They say never meet your heroes, but to be honest, all the Superman cast that I've ever met, including Supergirl 84, have been absolutely wonderful, and have been nothing but joy, and are truly appreciative of all the fans and all the support that we give them. So that's a good thing. So I'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe please, and hit the notification bell, and then you'll be aware of my next uploaded video. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.